Hi again. So it's the end of the first year on this channel, and I started this channel just purely because I love movies and wanted to share my opinions and reviews with the rest of the world straight after the cinema. So that's what this channel is about, and after seeing all of the big mainstream movies this year, I'm going to share with you now my top 10 for 2023. All right, so starting off with number 10, Rise of the Foot Soldier Vengeance. I gave this movie a 7.1, which was higher than I was expecting it to be honest. It had a great soundtrack, the fight scenes were brilliantly choreographed, and it was just way better than I was expecting it to be. So if you've not seen it, then it's a movie that I would definitely recommend. Even though it's number 10 on my list, it's definitely worth a watch. Number 9, The Flash. Now, I know this movie got a bit of hate for the CGI not being so good, but in my opinion, it didn't detract anything from how good the movie was. I thought it was really well done. I thought the story was good. It was great to see Michael Keaton back as Batman. I think that made the movie extra special. And although I didn't do a review for this movie because I hadn't started my channel at that time of the year, I would have given it a 7.1, and I definitely think it's worth a watch. It was probably the best DC comic movie out of all of the comic book movies this year. There was one other comic book movie that is higher up on my top 10 list, but we'll get to that in a minute. Number 8 is Dumb Money. I've seen this one quite recently, and it's just a brilliantly explained real life story of what happened with GameStop. I gave it a 7.3 in my review, and like I said in the review, I don't think that they could have really added anything to this movie to make it any better. It was just a really captivating story throughout, and if you've not seen it, then I'd definitely recommend you go watch it. Number 7, Sound of Freedom. This was by far the most emotional movie I've seen this year. The fact that you're aware of these monstrosities going on in the world is heart-wrenching, and watching the movie was quite heartbreaking in itself. It was a very heavy movie, and I know it's not for everybody. Not a lot of people want to watch this because of that, but I think it's great what Angel Studios did, getting the message out there and making it more well-known. The more well-known something like this is in the world, then the more chance there is of something being done about it. So yeah, it was a great movie. It wasn't quite as action packed as it was made out to be, but I still give it a 7.7 because I just think it was really well done, and I just love the message of the movie in itself. Number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Definitely the best comic book movie of the year, especially in comparison to Blue Beetle, which was probably the worst comic book adaptation out of any movies this year. DC failed a little bit on that one, but Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is great. It's lots of fun, there's great jokes in it, there's emotional attachment to the characters. I would have given it a 7.7 if I'd had my review channel up and running at that point. So it's definitely worth a watch. Number 5, A Good Person. For the first 6 months of this year, this was my favourite movie. If my channel had been up and running at that point, I would have given it a 7.8. Florence Pugh was great in this movie. She just was the standout character, and her acting was brilliant. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. I know it didn't get a huge cinema release, so you might not have even heard about it, but if you can catch it anywhere, then I definitely recommend that you should watch it. Number 4, Oppenheimer. Yes, Christopher Nolan's masterpiece, obviously made it into my top 5. Amazing soundtrack and cast. Visually stunning. This movie was brilliant in almost every way, really. The only big downside to this movie was it was way too long. Didn't need to be that long. That detracted from the overall viewing experience, in my opinion. And for that reason, I give it a solid 8. But still, obviously, a great movie in itself. And obviously, see it if you haven't seen it already. Number 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Of course, Tom Cruise made it into the top 3. How could he not? This movie had all the usual amazing stunts that TC provides. It was just a brilliant movie. Not as good as Top Gun Maverick, but still a great movie in itself. I'm already looking forward to the sequel next year. And if you've not seen this one, then you should definitely check it out too. Number 2, Wonka. I honestly didn't expect this movie to be taking my number 2 spot, but I really loved how refreshing it was to see a magical, unique movie like this on at the cinema. It was so much fun and unlike anything that normally gets shown in the cinema. So for this reason, I gave it the same amount as Mission Impossible, 8.1. But ultimately, Gran Turismo got my number 1 top spot. Can't say enough good things about this movie. It was absolutely brilliant. Heart-pounding action throughout. The fact that it was a true story and the story itself was just brilliant. Everything was great. There was emotional attachment to the characters. It was way better than I was expecting. When I seen the trailer, I thought this was going to be quite an average movie, but I was completely mistaken. It got 8.3, which is higher than any other movie that I give this year. So if you've not seen this movie, this is definitely the one to check out. All right, hope you've enjoyed this. And if you're new to the channel, it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe because my subscriber count is very low. But if you don't want to, that's fine. I still like the fact that I get some people viewing and sharing my reviews with everybody out there. Hope you've had a good Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll hopefully see you next time. Ciao.